Do you know what buyer's remorse is? The chances are if you've bought various VR headsets over the last couple of years, well, you've experienced it. It's all too easy to get caught up in the excitement and dazzled by the vast array of improved specifications available, but then reality turns into disappointment or frustration. But in retrospect, well, perhaps your disappointment was inevitable because you may not have had the hardware to run it in the first place. I'm reminded of an old saying, which is sometimes less is more, and nowhere is this more applicable than in flight simulation. And in this video, I'm going to share my personal views and opinions with you. But on the eve of 2025, the harsh reality for VR pilots is it's a world of compromise. Welcome to the SimHanger, my name's Mark, thanks very much for watching and let's get started. As you join me today, we're in the Agri Truck, in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and we're going to be doing a little bit of crop spraying. I've recorded this in VR using the crystal light from Pimax. But this video isn't about a particular headset, or for that matter, a particular flight sim. I'm generalizing here on flight sim and VR overall, and what factors I consider important and some of the potential pitfalls to be aware of when selecting your next VR headset. This video is aimed at the average VR flight sim enthusiast, and not necessarily at those who want to be on the cutting edge of technology at any cost. If you fall into that category, well, this video is probably not for you. Watch almost any review on a VR headset, and one of the first things to be mentioned, and perhaps the main focus of the review, will be on the resolution and how many gigapixels it's capable of producing. That's all well and good, but remember, the more pixels it's got to push through the headset, the better GPU and CPU you need. Higher resolutions don't come free. There's a performance penalty to be paid in many cases. There are a number of aids that can reduce the impact of this, such as fixed foveated rendering, or if there's eye tracking, dynamic foveated rendering, which will produce a full resolution at a portion of the screen and reduce the resolution in the periphery of your vision. This is a workable solution for some and a significant compromise for others. Alternatively, of course, you can just turn down the resolution of the headset so it's displaying less pixels, which again, in my opinion, is self-defeating and calls into question why you purchased that VR headset in the first place. The harsh reality here is for the top-end, highest resolution VR headsets, while we're still waiting for the PC hardware to catch up. Rarely are we able to experience the headset in all its glory with all its features, as it's beyond the capability of current hardware. I'm sure there'll be a lot of focus on the upcoming GPUs such as the 5090 and so on. For the VR headset that I'm using in this video, I'm running it at full resolution, not using foveated rendering, and as you can see, the performance is very good indeed. However, to get this performance I've had to use DLSS on quality mode, as this sim is more demanding than most. Now this current headset has a particularly high resolution, and able to achieve this performance with this resolution because it is a PC VR headset, which means it connects directly via the display port, and therefore the transfer of the image, there's no compression involved, and so less demanding overall. I'm also a big fan, as you're probably aware if you follow the channel, of the Quest 3. That's not a PC VR headset, no display port, but in this case I'm willing to live with the compromises. It's lower resolution, but it has mixed reality features so you can bring the outside world in, and perhaps most importantly, I can use it wirelessly, which I find very liberating. It's a matter of personal preference. The type of lenses that a VR headset uses are also very important. Pancake lenses probably being the best, followed by a spheric, and then the older Fresnel type lenses. Clarity in something like flight simulation is important, and it's not necessarily directly linked always to the resolution. The type of lenses are also very important. Quest 3, for example, produces a good level of clarity in relation to its price point due to its pancake lenses. So when considering buying a VR headset, always have a look at what the recommended, not necessarily the minimum, hardware specifications are. If on that particular site you find the hardware specifications really hard to find, if they're buried deep within the bowels of the website, well, you should ask yourself why. This always rings the alarm bells for me when I'm considering my next purchase. Flying in VR is an amazing experience. In my personal opinion, nothing touches it in terms of immersion, but enjoying your VR experience is not just about the resolution or the bells and whistles. Equally important is the comfort factor, and not enough attention is paid to this aspect. For me, if I can't be comfortable in a VR headset for, let's say, 2.5 hours, well, it's a no-go for me. The form factor of the VR headset is, of course, always an important consideration, because no matter which way you slice and dice it, having a really heavy VR headset on your head for hours, well, the comfort factor's just not there. As technology advances, I think we will see in 2025 more of a move towards the smaller form factor, initiated with the likes of Beyond, recently showcased with the Megan X. Whilst Pimax have been fairly innovative in implementing new technology, that's not been the case in terms of form factor, but even their next generation of VR headsets are looking to be more compact. I think this indicates the direction of travel for the future, which is encouraging. And we've got to look forward to the future where we're not having to have a brick on our head, because that in itself destroys the immersion. Turning back now to the hardware, I just want to recap on that, as I think it's an extremely important point. Always try and ascertain the recommended specifications as I mentioned earlier. Ideally, your system should be above that, and check out reviews that reference their performance to their hardware specification. And as I mentioned in a recent video, link in the notes below, you may well be better off investing your money in upgrading your PC hardware before you take the dive towards a high-end VR headset, only to find that you can't run it and get the performance levels that you desire. But I do accept, of course, that to some degree, well, the circle never ends. As VR technology moves forward, so the demands on the hardware will continue, and it's a bit of a vicious cycle. But as a general guideline, get your PC specs up, then look towards the high-end VR headsets if you're not there already. From a personal perspective, the VR headsets that I use are the Quest 3 and the Pimax Crystal Light. Neither of these can be regarded as top-end, but they're what my PC specs can manage, and I'm on a 14900 and a 4090. Both are relatively comfortable and not overly heavy, even though the Pimax Crystal Light's form factor leaves something to be desired. As I mentioned, it's all about compromise. There are of course many other factors to take into consideration when buying a VR headset, such as field of view, FOV, and we've only just scratched the surface. But when purchasing a headset, consider the overall experience you're likely to get. Factor in clarity and display, comfort, ease of use, and of course the flight sim that you're using. Different packages have different features and requirements. All this needs to be borne in mind. Some of you may be thinking, Mark, you're stating the obvious. Yes, that's true. But the very reason I'm making this video is due to the number of queries I get where people are asking me for help and assistance and advice because they bought a VR headset that doesn't live up to expectations for various reasons. So in summary, what am I saying? Buy a VR headset that your hardware is capable of running. You will enjoy the overall VR experience so much more. And remember that flight simulation is one of the most taxing requirements in a VR environment. As we look towards 2025, let's hope that more accessible and affordable VR headsets will enter the market with a form factor that offers more comfort, but at the same time, the days of a $300 headset, well, I think they're behind us. In terms of VR for 2025, what are you hoping to see? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know. In any event, I hope you found this video to be useful and informative. Stay well, look after yourself, see you all again very soon, and ciao for now.